I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I am sick and tired of Gilbert Arenas luring me in. I get excited. I'm like, hey, he has some great takes. He's doing a great job when it pertains to the Spurs. Most of the time it's like, wow, a few people on this pod had some good takes. And then you come across something like this, and this is just it's so bad. It's so bad. Now, I didn't watch it in its entirety. This is a 42-second clip. I did see, however, the comment section, and yeah, this isn't good. I know exactly what this argument is. Let's listen.
Duncan had more individual and team success than KG during their NBA careers, but just rolling the ball out, do you think KG was a better player than Tim Duncan?
Yes.
And why do you feel that way?
Tim was great, but I feel like just because you got accomplishments and championships don't always mean you're better than that person. To me, I feel like his team was better than the Timberwolves. That's why. But if you put KG on that team, I think he had the same amount of rings.
If you put...
I don't know why this keeps happening where people see... I think I do know. Hold on, we'll finish this.
KG on that team, they don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
But I think if you put Tim with the Minnesota team, he get them out of the first round and shit like that.
Ooh. We know if Garnett was in that system.
Oh my God.
He would have been the greatest power forward of all time.
Everybody just say
that.
What are we talking about? Is that how that works? Is that how that works? Like, if anybody was in that system, then they will be the greatest whatever? Is that how that works for any player ever, right? Is that just it? Could we just put, I don't know, Reggie Miller in Jordan's position? He will be the greatest of all time. He would be the greatest shooting guard of all time. That's a silly argument, okay? Now, here's the thing, man. Kevin Garnett, and I hope that this doesn't happen with Chet and Wemby, right? Kevin Garnett was a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. But there's tiers to this, and Duncan was on another tier. And I think that a problem that a lot of people face when discussing the Spurs, and I hate it so much, is they constantly talk about team success and separate Duncan from that. You can say that we had this system and we had this and we had that and we had all these great things. Popovich is a phenomenal coach. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not. But the system was Duncan. It was Duncan. That's why I don't understand when people always say that you had this system. If KG was in the Spurs system, it's no longer the Spurs system. He's not in the Spurs system. Now it's KG's system. And I don't think KG's system works as well as having Tim Duncan as the main guy. You know, I just wanted to show you, just put things in perspective, okay? Because we have some younger fans here, and I don't think you quite understand how great Tim Duncan actually was, okay? So I just brought up the stats here from the playoffs, 2003 playoffs in which he won a championship. I'm telling you this, okay? Please go watch it. This is the greatest carry job in NBA history, period. This is the greatest carry job ever. There's a few that you can probably point to, right? Some people will say, well, what about Dirk Nowitzki? You know, you can throw some in there. But this right here was ridiculous because the Spurs weren't the Spurs. A lot of people will take a look at this roster, and we'll look at the roster in a second, but a lot of people will take a look at this roster and say, well, you had this player, you had this player, you had this player. No, it was just Duncan. This entire thing was just Duncan and role players. But we can get out of the first round, right? Nobody cares about the first round, even though in the first round we have some performances like 22 points, 12 rebounds. I believe that's 2 assists, and is that 6 blocks? And 6 blocks, yeah. So you have performances like that, you know, it's nothing too crazy. Now you're going against the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? The championship caliber Los Angeles Lakers looking to three-peat. And he took them out. His last performance against them, 37 points. And keep in mind, there weren't three-pointers. All right, there were no three-pointers. 37 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks to go ahead and close out that game. And keep in mind how many minutes he's actually playing, over 40. Then he goes against the Dallas Mavericks once again puts on a crazy show. 32 points, 15 rebounds, 34 points, 24 rebounds. First game was 5 assists. Second game was 6 assists. You had 2 steals and 6 blocks in that second game. Just complete carrying. In the last round, in the finals, he just took it home. He just took it home. He started off the series, with 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 7 blocks. He set the tone from the first game with 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6, 3, 7. Ridiculous. On over 63% from the field. Over 64% from the field. I'm sorry. Excuse me. And his last game to go ahead and win it and win his championship was 21 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists. He had a triple-double with 8 blocks. He had a near quadruple-double to go ahead and finish off that series. KG would not have been able to carry this to this degree. It's just not. He just wasn't on Tim Duncan's level in that degree. But also, hold on. I want to show you something, okay? So if we just go to here. Oh, wait. Can I go here? I thought I could go here. Players. Here we go. Wait a minute. Why is this silly? Oh, here we go. I'm silly. All right. So if you look at his team, you might say, oh my goodness. Well, Clint, what are you talking about? He had David Robinson, and he had Tony Parker, he had Manu Ginobili. David Robinson was much older. He was not the same David Robinson whatsoever. Tony Parker was super young. He was not the Tony Parker that we know of today, right? Manu Ginobili, he was a role player. He was good, but he was a role player. He was nowhere near what we expect out of him years later. So people will look at this and say, well, he had Tony, he had Manu, he had so much help. He did not. It's argued that Captain Jack was the best player after Tim Duncan on that team. A lot of people argue that. I don't even get angry with that take, because it's very possible, because everybody was a role player. So it's just very frustrating, man, that we want to say, or you would actually come out and say, oh yeah, you could have put anybody in that role and they would have been the greatest whatever. That's ridiculous. That is not how anything works. That is so silly. That is just so silly. That's like me saying you could put Tony Romo on the Patriots. You could put Tony oh my gosh, I can't speak today. I'm so upset. You could put Tony Romo on the Patriots, and now he's the greatest quarterback, or one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. No, it doesn't work like that. Sure, maybe if we're playing 2K, you could do that and make it work. But the system that the Spurs created was surrounded around Tim Duncan. You can't have the Spurs system without Tim Duncan. Now, everybody played together by 2014. It was a beautiful masterpiece, right? Everyone knows this. But the 2014 Spurs is not how the Spurs looked during their other championships. It was Tim Duncan. He was always the pillar. It's just crazy, man. Then you take away so much that made Tim Duncan to just say you could just put KG in that position and he'll be just as great. You take away all the nuances of Tim Duncan. You take away the leadership. You take away the tenacity. You take away the amount of clutch shots that he made throughout his career. It's just so gross to me. It's just so gross. All right, you are where you are, and if you're going to be great, you're going to be great. I don't think that there's anything else. If he was with the Timberwolves, then guess what? The Timberwolves would have been known as this phenomenal system. It would have been known as one of the greatest systems that they ever created, because it was Tim Duncan there. It was Tim Duncan. Now, it takes a lot of other things as well, right? It takes great, competent leadership from your front office and your coaching and everything. But I do believe that, Tim Duncan, no matter where he went, he would have ended up being one of the greatest power forwards of all time. Very similar to how Wemby is right now. It didn't matter where he went. We're going to consider him, when it's all said and done, probably one of the greatest players to ever live. It's just silly. It's dumb. I hate it. And they'll be using the same arguments for Chet, right? They'll say, well, if Chet was with the Spurs. No, actually, I won't accept that. Sorry. I got a little upset. I'll talk to you guys. I hate that. I hate takes like that. I'll talk to you guys later. Sorry, rambled a little too much. Bye.